That's a little bit brighter. All right, okay, so now we're gonna solve for missing angles. So yesterday we solved for missing sides. Today we're gonna solve for unknown angles. So there's a couple of things that you are gonna learn along the way. And when you're solving for an angle, you're gonna use your second function button or your shift button, depending on what your calculator has. So somebody asked me that yesterday. When do we use the second function button? We only use that when we're solving for an angle. If you're solving for a side, you just use the straight trig button on your calculator. So yesterday we just used the straight trig button on our calculator. Today we're going to solve for angles, so we'll use that second function button before. All right, so we've got to do this in two different steps. We're solving for angle G, so we're going to do that first. And then we're going to solve for angle J, and we'll do that second. So you got to do it in two, it's almost like this is a two-part question. All right, so we're going to do G first. Angle G. So I'm going to indicate that there. So there's my angle. So what is my first step? What am I going to do? Yeah, I got to do the question for sure. It's the same step we did in finding sides. What was the first thing that we had to do? What do we got to do before we pick a formula? We got to find what sides we have, right? So we're going to label the two sides we know. So step one. All right, so what are the two sides? Got to use an erasable pen here. What is the 5? Is it my opposite? Is it my adjacent? Or is it my hypotenuse? What's the 5? Is it my opposite, my adjacent, or my hypotenuse? It is my adjacent. All right, so what side is the 4? My opposite. Because where's my hypotenuse, right? Okay. Okay, so now step 2, we pick the trig ratio. So now we pick the trig ratio that has opposite and adjacent in it. They're on the front board. Which trig ratio has opposite and adjacent? So this one's going to be tan. So tan theta is equal to op over adjacent, opposite side over adjacent. And again, I always write the formula out just so that I can remember it over and over again. Second step, I'm going to fill in the information that I know. So I'm finding tangent of angle G. Opposite side is 4 over 5. Okay, so we want to get G by itself. So this is how we get G by itself. So when I bring the tan to the other side, it turns to a tan -1. And this is where we use the second function button in the calculator. Okay. Oh, it's step 3. And what do you want to ask me? No? Do you know what you're doing? Yeah. Okay. All right. I've given away my other calculator. So are you all in degrees on your calculator? Okay, so we're going to put that into our calculator. We're going to go second function, or you might have a shift button on yours instead. Mine's second function, shift. And then I'm going to hit the trig function. And your calculator should come up tan -1. If it doesn't, that's okay. Some of you may have to put in the fraction first and then do second function tan, I'm not 100% sure how your calculator is going to work. 4 divided by 5. So you're going to use your divide sign, and you got to close that bracket, and we're going to hit enter. Okay, so what are we rounding to? 38.7, because we're rounding to the nearest tenth of a degree, so we're going to 1 decimal place. So G, angle G, is going to be 38.7. And what are my units of measure for the angle? What are our angles measured in? Degrees. So you need your degree symbol.
Why does the 6 change to a 7? I was confused.
Oh, look at the number after it. So if we're trying to round to the very first place value, like we're rounding to the tenths, you look at the hundredths, and if it's the number 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, we round the 6 up. If it was 4, 3, 2, or 1, we leave it. Okay? All right, that's angle G. Okay, I'm going to give you guys a really important piece of information. You ready for this? I'm going to go back up here. Do you guys know what the word interior means?
Yeah, like interior defense. The inside.
So it's the inside, okay? So all interior angles okay, so all interior angles of a triangle add up to 180 degrees. How many inside angles do we have on a triangle?
3.
3. We've got 3 corners, so we have 3 inside angles. And they add up to 180 every single time. It doesn't matter what kind of triangle you have, they always add to 180. This is a mathematical truth. So we need to find J now, angle J, right? This one is 38.7 degrees. What does that little box represent? How many degrees does that little box represent? 90. Yep. Because that's my right angle. So that's 90. Do I need to use trig to find my third angle?
No.
No, because you know that all 3 have to add up to 180. Can we do the math there? So angle J, so we have 180 degrees is equal to 90 plus 38.7 plus angle J.
So we just add those.
Yeah, so we got 180. And if we add those two, it's going to be 128.7 plus J. How do I get J by itself?
180
Subtract, yep. Anybody get an answer for me?
51.3.
51.3. And what's my units of measure on that? Degrees, thank you. So I have just solved for the 2 angles in the triangle. But you also can use trig to find it. You don't have to do the rule of 180, but it's super helpful to remember that rule. Yeah, Jonah?
So it's like the top one always going to be 90 degrees?
The box is always going to be 90. Yeah, it might not always be at the top, but that box is always 90. That's what it represents. Just for funsies, I'm going to recreate that. We had a 90 degree here. We had 5 here, and we had 4 here. You guys don't have to copy this down if you don't want to. I'm just going to show you, and this was J, and this was G, and that was H. So this time I'm solving for angle J. So So that means now the 4 used to be my opposite side, but now it's my adjacent, and the 5 is my opposite. So again, I'm still using tan, but, so tan of angle J is now 5 over 4. If you remember, tan of angle G was the reciprocal of that. Reciprocal just means when you flip a fraction upside down. That's the fancy word we use for flipping it upside down. So I'm going to do J is equal to tan -1 of 5 over 4. I'm going to use my handy dandy calculator. Second function tan, this time it's 5 divided by 4. And I get the 51.3 degrees. So I get the exact same answer whether I'm using the rule of 180 or if I'm using trigonometry. So you can do both, or one or the other. Okay, you guys good? All right. Let's do the next one. Oh, we only have 2 examples here. Do you guys want to do it? Do you guys want to try G on your own? Okay, try G on your own. You're going to find angle G first, and then H second, and we're rounding to the nearest tenth. And I'm going to pause my screen because I'm going to do the math with you, but I'm not going to show it to you. Hey, Arun, do you know what trig formula you'd use?
I use the middle one.
The middle one.
Mhm.
Yeah, good guess.
I didn't guess. I knew it.
Did you get this done? Are you close?
I'm writing it down as first person.
Okay.
In my head, you know.
Okay, for sure. Yeah.
I'll scan it first. You know how it be with us robots? That's the neediness of the doing. Okay, I don't know how, but I haven't used it. Now I guess.
So did everybody use cos to find angle G?
Yeah.
Yeah? Do you guys want to see what I got for an answer? Not yet? Okay. Because if you didn't use cos, then you're not going to get the right answer. So as long as you're confident that you used cos and you know why you used cos. Can I show you now?
Wait.
Okay, I'm waiting.
Can I tell you what the answer is before?
Yep.
So, G is 64.6.
Okay.
And H is 25.4.
25.4. Yes. Nice. Good work. I didn't even do the second one. I just did the first one. So Jonah, how did you get the second one? Did you use trig or did you use the rule of 180?
The 180.
The 180?
I use trig and then I use 180 to check. Did 180 too.
So if I'm going to solve for h now, if I'm going to solve for angle h, hypotenuse still stays the same, but this side 6 changed to opposite. So the trig formula I have to use has to have opposite and hypotenuse with it. So that's going to be sine. So my question is, are you guys practicing this with your calculators so you feel confident in knowing how to use them? Okay. Because the calculators can sometimes be the hardest part. And you could totally use the rule of 180. So I'm going to ruin the surprise for tomorrow's lesson. Tomorrow is just simply, it's solving a triangle is what it's called. So solving a triangle means to solve for all the missing information. So you'd solve for the angles and the sides. Pardon? Exactly. That's exactly what it is. Okay, that's it. That's all.